right. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. So excited to have you here for our info session about eco-villages and intentional communities in Costa Rica. Amazing. Oh, so many wonderful people coming in. I love when folks turn on their video cameras. So if you want to be brave and turn on your camera, it'd be great to see more faces. We had more than 200 people register for today's event. And I can see we already have close to 40 people joining us live. Oh my goodness, there is so much interest right now in Costa Rica and eco-villages and intentional communities. I mean, I really feel it myself. I don't know what it is, maybe a discontentment perhaps with how things are going in other parts of the world, especially in the United States, which is where I live and I'm calling in from, and a desire to explore other parts of the world that are maybe living a little bit closer to some of the values that we all hold around sustainability and community and connection. So I'm just delighted to be with you all to explore this topic, and of course to do that with my dear friend and our Costa Rica Ecovillage Tour to guide, Jason. Jason, you want to say hello to everyone?
Yeah, hey everybody. Really awesome to have you guys here. I love the idea that some of us might get the chance to meet in person. I haven't gone through all the names. I don't know if anybody on the call's been on any of our tours yet, but they are really awesome opportunities to make new friends and to get to know each other and explore this moving target of an anomalous thing that we call community. That's so different for so many of us that we get to also come together in commonality too. So, yay, thanks for coming. And as we go through this, drop some questions in the chat if you'd like. And at the end of the call, we'll be able to address some of those for you. And if there's
Yeah.
anything quick, I'll be keeping my eye on the chat and see if I can answer anything directly there too.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Jason. Yeah, and speaking of the chat, while we're still waiting for more people to arrive, I would love if folks could turn to the chat now and type in a little message about where you are coming from, where do you live, and what brings you to today's session? What are you hoping to learn? What are you curious about? That'd be really helpful so that Jason and I can kind of tailor our presentation towards getting your needs met. So go ahead, find the chat and drop in a little note there. I'll also mention that we are recording this session and we will be sending out the recording to everyone afterwards. So we only have about an hour together and it's going to go by really fast. We have a lot of information to cover. So yeah, feel free to take notes. Make sure you put your questions in the chat as we go along. And again, we'll try to get to as many as we can at the end. But to start with, we have a presentation for you. So I'm going to share my screen and get this presentation going. Oh my goodness, I love seeing where everyone's coming in from. People from Canada, Colorado, California. Oh, some people connecting around Lois Arkin. Oh, that's great. Beautiful. Asheville, North Carolina. Oh my goodness. Yay. Yeah. Use this as a chance not only to learn from me and Jason, but also to connect with each other. Like these are people from all around the world. I know we're hosting this a little later in the evening, so we might be missing some sections of the world, but definitely sweeping across North America. And it's a great way to connect with other people who are interested in intentional community. Okay, so I'm gonna get this slideshow going. All right, so once again, welcome, especially for the people who are just joining in. We are here for a presentation about ecovillages and intentional communities in the beautiful country of Costa Rica. And I am going to start things off by sharing a little bit about myself. and how I came to be doing this work that I do with Ecovillage Tours. I did not grow up in an intentional community, but I've spent most of my adult life living in community of various forms. I've gotten to travel the world visiting more than 200 intentional communities, eco-villages, co-housing, permaculture centers, tiny house villages, all these incredible ways that people are reimagining how we live. And I have also settled in a intentional community here in Vermont. So that's where I'm calling from. It's a small eco-village. We're about 8 households on 15 acres. You can see here, there's some photos on the sides of our gardens. It's our autumn vegetable harvest that we had at autumn time last year. And I love this way of life. It is so nourishing for my soul. I know it's really good for the planet. I know that this kind of place is what so many people are craving in this moment, in this time of loneliness and with compounding crises around us. We just want to get back to something that feels simple, nourishing, supportive, where we can contribute and help our neighbors and try to make the world a better place. So I'm doing that where I live here in Vermont, and I know there's so many places around the world where people are also exploring intentional community. And I know it's not always easy to find them. It's not always easy to make that leap from where you are now to seeking out and actually going to visit some of these amazing places. So that's why in 2019, a company called Ecovillage Tours. And we offer multi-day trips, usually 1 to 2 week long trips, to visit intentional communities in different regions of the world. And to date, we have offered 13 trips. So bringing groups, really diverse people together to go on these trips and visit different communities. We've done this in 7 countries with over 100 participants, bringing them to visit probably over 100 different communities and working closely with 12 local guides. So that's the company, that's what we're doing, and we're really growing quickly, which is amazing. I really feel this wave of interest right now in eco-villages, and it's beautiful to be a part of. So I'll share a little bit more about Ecovillage Tours just so you can understand the organization that's putting on today's event, and then we'll dive into Costa Rica specifically. So who is an Ecovillage Tour a fit for? We bring in, as I say, a diverse range of people, diverse ages and backgrounds, but they all share a common interest in intentional communities. The people who come on our trips really want a values-aligned way to travel. I'm sure we all enjoy traveling to a certain degree, taking a vacation from time to time, but how can you do that in a way that really speaks to your values? A lot of our participants themselves want to find an existing community to join or to start a new community, but so many feel overwhelmed by all the options, where to go, the logistics, how to make it work. Is it even safe to visit some of these communities? And so they really feel like they need a network of support to take that next step forward and pursue the life that they want to live with the people that they want to live with. And that's why we are really the only transformative travel experience that combines visiting intentional communities, getting that expert eco-village guidance while having all of the logistics taken care of. So you can really sit back and enjoy getting to visit these places and not have to worry about how do I get from point A to point B and who's driving and what's the route and all of that. So it's an experience that combines both learning with a bit of vacation time and deep connection with community. Not only the communities that are visited, but the other people that are along from the journey. We just finished a few weeks ago our Vermont Ecovillage Tour, which I lead here where I live in Vermont. And We were a group of a family with a 1-year-old infant, all the way up to an 80-year-old participant. So we really had this incredible village dynamic. And I feel like these people are like lifelong friends. Like we're still in the WhatsApp group. We just celebrated the birthday party with the little baby who came on the trip with us. And that's what it's all about. It's a new way to live and a new way to travel. And I'm really happy to be able to share this with you, and especially to share about Costa Rica. Because in my mind, this is where it all started with Ecovillage Tours. I connected with Jason back around this time in 2023. And, I had been to Costa Rica a few times. I knew there was a lot happening with the community scene in the country, but I didn't quite have all the connections. I knew I needed somebody who was a connector, a community builder, on location, living there. And I'm amazed I met Jason. And we've now been working together for a few years and have hosted 4 different trips down to Costa Rica. And we have 4 more planned for the early part of 2026, January through April. So one tour each month in January, February, March, and April. So yeah, now I'm pleased to introduce Jason and let him share about himself and his journey to Costa Rica and some of the work that he's doing.
All right. Well, um, yeah, I've been in Costa Rica 16 years, most of the last 16 years. And I've done it a bunch of different ways. The first dozen years, I had founded a permaculture land cooperative that we were, fostering a lot of community living practices there and had a permaculture education center and hosted hundreds of people and just all ate together every day and showed a lot of people how to really a lot of people were coming out of their mom's house for the first time. A lot of people seeking community are just like, you know, some people have been doing the grind all their life and they're just like, "Ah, I got to get out." And then some people just get it early, especially in today's day and age, as people have access to other ways of living through the internet. And yeah, so I got to experience a lot of different people at different stages of their life looking for community experiences and wanting to know how to, yeah, do this thing and communicate and make food for other people or themselves for that matter. And it was amazing because prior to that, I spent 6 years on the road vagabonding, visiting intentional communities and permaculture projects and so forth, and learning about community living as a visitor. And then I hosted people for many, many years, and so I got to see that on both of those sides. And now between doing the Ecovillage tours and I also do community matchmaking calls, similar to Cynthia, but focused specifically to Costa Rica. Maybe Cynthia, you can drop a link in there. I know there's some people that are specifically looking for Costa Rican communities. And I'll tell you, having a call with me and getting an email with a curated list is great, but coming on the tours is really to have 9 to 11 days to pick my brain and like really, go deep. It's a pretty good value, along with everybody else whose brains you get to tap. So I have a lot to offer. I also, besides consulting people looking for community, I also consult communities that are creating their shareholding member agreements and their community living agreements. And so that's something that I've begun doing this year. And I've got my first 3 communities in Costa Rica who I'm guiding through this process of developing their community model. So yeah, those are some of the things that I've been into. Regional resilience, really for me, something we've been bringing into these tours that's unique and special for a lot of people is not just visiting properties that are eco villages where people are kind of moving in to learn how to live together, but actually looking at bioregions where people are already living and maybe have been living for generations or so forth, or like where I live now, there's a mix of generational Costa Ricans with a lot of foreigners who have a lot of similar intention to create regional community together, and I'm excited about that bioregionalism. I'm part of other bioregional programs, and cultural integration and all that kind of stuff is also very important for me, both within a community project formally as well as just being a good neighbor and making sure that the impact we're making with these projects is more than just within a bubble. Yeah. So.
Right. Jason, do you want to share briefly about how you made the journey to Costa Rica and what that was like, especially moving there as an
Mm.
American, and what maybe just briefly like the legalities of that or the ease of that, how you were welcomed by the people.
Really, that is a great point, and when I came here, I was headed to Ecuador. Gary Young from Young Living Essential Oils invited me to come intern at his new farm in Ecuador. And so I told my partner at the time, like, hey, I'm going to go down there and do this. And she didn't want to raise her kids in the States anymore. And so she's like, let's just go together. And so we bought a school bus and did a veggie oil RV schoolie conversion and put the kiddos and whatever else we could fit in it. And we were heading to Ecuador. And so after about 3 months on the road, we were a little road weary. Bus was breaking down. The kids were breaking down. As a result, we were breaking down. And we made it to Costa Rica. And really, after traveling through so many countries and getting a bit of a, not from the people so much, the people in most countries are generally, we attract kind people. But like the officials, the cops, the checkpoints, um, some of the people get a lot of like, why are you here energy. I mean, obviously, we had this big, absurd looking bus with a ratty roof rack and a garden hose coming from our water tank through the kitchen window. And, it was an oddity. But when we got to Costa Rica, people didn't say, what are you doing here? It was like, what are you doing here? And so it was just very different curiosity, very different spirit. Part of it is that they've been non-military based for so long, and they don't, and as a result, they haven't been pitted against their neighbors in arms races by external countries. And so they have a little less animosity for the countries that have been responsible for a lot of degradation in their neighboring countries that we experienced. And so that welcome, that curiosity, that gentleness, that pura vida, pure living kind of mentality that is part of the culture in Costa Rica really affected us like viscerally after being on the road for so long. And so we spent 3 more months traveling Costa Rica, checking out all of its different sides, doing my own Ecovillage tour, right? I spent 3 months driving around in my bus looking with my family and other people. We had actually other people that joined us for certain legs of it, like, oh, I want to go visit that place. And so we actually had people we were meeting, like visiting. So I guess, yeah, I've been doing this a while. Um, and then we ended up just buying our own farm. We were a little impatient. That's one of the advices I give people is take your time before, to really find what you're looking for before deciding to just do your own thing. But yeah, that was how we found Costa Rica and deciding to settle here. We ended up picking Pérez Celedón, the canton where we live, where San Isidro del General is the main city up the mountain from Dominical. And we bought a farm there. We just felt like it was just, man, no matter what kind of global storm hits, be it a solar flare or a pandemic, as it turned out, we didn't have that in mind, economic crashes, anything like that, we knew that that would be a region that no matter what happens, we're not going to be pillaged. We're going to be part of the neighbors that are coming together to figure out what to do next. And I feel that about most of Costa Rica. There's some coastal areas that have some tensions between foreigners and so forth. And the gentrification thing is real, and we got to be sensitive to how to immigrate without gentrifying. But um, yeah, yeah, I think that Costa Rica. The other thing that I liked is like Nicaragua, Panama to some degree, some of these other countries that are less expensive to live. Very clearly, you can get by and buy land and stuff for much less and even build. it's a little bit of the Wild West, and it's not my style. I don't like bribing people to get my work done. I'm okay with bureaucracy at this point. I like knowing what I'm getting into, being able to learn the laws, follow
Mhm.
them. So those are some of the reasons that I like Costa Rica. They just expanded. Somebody asked about tourist visas, how often you have to leave. For people from the United States and many other countries, they just opened up 180-day visas from 90-day visas. So you really only got to leave twice a year, which is pretty
Yeah.
cool. And they
Yeah,
also extended their residency options for people that want to invest or who have digital nomad status and stuff like that. So it's a
great.
country worth checking out.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds like even on that government level, they're making it easier in many ways for people to come and visit. And it sounds like a lot of people like yourself, Jason, live in Costa Rica and leave for once or twice a year to reset that clock on the visa, but don't actually go down the residency path in a formal way. Would you say?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, nice. Yeah, and then we had a question about the cost of living in Costa Rica. I think it's fair to say not as cheap as some of the other places you mentioned, but what would you say? Oh,
it's just all over the place, guys. I live pretty cheap. I live in a glorious, lovely area. Um, and because I've been around a while and I got friends looking out for me, I got a great deal. I have a one bedroom house for 500 bucks a month in a really beautiful area. And I eat very simple. I'm like the Whole Foods guy. So I just pretty much I buy very little processed food. And so my grocery bill's really low. Like if you buy stuff in Costa Rica that's locally made or local labor, your expenses are very low. It's when you start importing stuff, when we were building all the time, what a cost that can be. So that's really when you're building and being ambitious, or if you want to bring all of your first world consumption habits with you, all of that can be very costly. Really anywhere in the world at this point, but definitely in Costa Rica. And for those that like to keep it simple, I'm not the only one who lives on a fairly low budget.
yeah, great. Thank you. Okay, good. We're going to have lots more time to answer question. Um, but I want to go on and share a little bit more specifically with you, a few aspects of what we're doing in Costa Rica and things for you to be aware of as you're considering maybe coming and joining us on a trip or maybe moving there. So here we have photos of our past tour participants. As I mentioned, we've done 4 trips. So these are the different groups that we've had come down. People, again, really diverse backgrounds, really diverse ages, really creating that village feel while traveling to visit villages. So just wanted to show you some of their photos and give them a little honoring and recognition for being the pioneers on our inaugural Ecovillage tours. And now diving in a little bit deeper, just picking up on Jason on some of the themes that you were already getting into, sharing about, well, what makes Costa Rica so special? Why is it really becoming this global hotspot for more alternative and conscious living? I have here the maps. You can kind of orient Costa Rica within the larger Central America region. And we have a few points to run through. I think the first thing I could mention, and Jason, I'll let you take it away. I mean, from my experience visiting some of these communities, I'm just amazed at how many there are. Like that we can offer 4 different tours in 4 different regions and not repeat any of the communities, but visit different ones. And that's like a selection of many more communities. I think around maybe 30 or so intentional communities in the country, all that have really cool eco architecture, amazing local food systems, and many of them are open to new members. So it's an exciting place for people who are looking for community. Yeah, and 20, no, 92% renewable energy as a country. Like, that's amazing. A lot of, is it hydropower and solar power primarily?
Primarily hydro. Yeah.
Hydro. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's so cool. You can, like a lot of the communities we visit, some of them are more off grid, but some of them are like, we like the grid. The grid is renewable. Let's tap into it. And then you mentioned, Jason, that they have, the country has abolished their military, which I think, it's not something that you think about on a daily basis, but you do feel it when you're in the country, just to be in a country that doesn't have so much of a value and resources going towards the military, but those resources can go towards social services instead. And then the welcoming culture, I think Jason's already shared about that in his story. Being in the warm tropics. I was chatting with someone earlier today who said, and they live in Costa Rica, it's warm, but you also have the mountains. So you can go higher up to the more cooler areas as well. He really felt like that was a selling point for him on moving there. And then we just talked about how it is more relatively easy to stay long term as a foreigner compared to other countries. Jason, anything you want to add or expand on?
No, not at this time.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, so a lot of reasons to love Costa Rica and love what's happening with the communities there. So now we're gonna get into looking at some of these communities more specifically. And for that, I'm going to just transfer over to a different slide. So I will just pull that up. I want to actually take you to the web page for Costa Rica on our website. So ecovillagetours.com/Costa-Rica. And I can put this in the chat as well if you want to follow along with me. Because on this webpage is actually a ton of information about Costa Rica ecovillages. So if you scroll down, you can see all of our upcoming tour dates. As I mentioned, 4 tours we're offering at the beginning of 2026. And then we have each of the tours broken up by month. So I'm going to keep scrolling down, and you can see here our January trip that actually has a map, a Google map that you can search and play around with to see the communities that we'll be visiting on the January trip. And so if you scroll down here, you can see that on the January trip, we're visiting Alegria Village, St. Michael's Sustainable Community, La Ecovilla, which is the largest eco village in Costa Rica, and their new project, San Mateo La Ecovilla, and Colectivo Taco Tal. So you can see all of these communities. For each community, we've put in a short description, some photos, their location, if they're accepting new members or not, their land acreage, and the website. And we've done this for all of the communities that we're visiting on the trips. You get the map and the community and the information. So I really want to point you towards this web page if you're, whether or not you're coming on one of our tours, but really use this as a resource because our team has put a lot of time into creating this. So I want to make sure it's used. And now, Jason, do you want to walk us through the different trips? I know we've gone back and forth so many times, like, do we design our trips thematically or geographically? And we've honed in on doing it based on geography to limit the drive time. Do you want to talk about the January one coming up and some of the communities that participants would see on this tour?
Sure. Let me just pull up a worksheet here.
And obviously we have 4, so we'll want to do each one kind of briefly with like that.
Right. No, for sure. I could talk all day about these.
I know.
It's
Me
epic. I
too.
mean, we're visiting over 20 different spots plus 5 different bioregional panel discussions. It's out of sight. Um, so the January tour is all places that we've been before. It's a very popular run of places. Um, Oh, actually, no. St. Michael's, that'll be a first trip for us. I've been to St. Michael's Country Club. You can learn about Justin Dolan and the St. Michael's Permaculture Country Club on my podcast. I think it was episodes 4 and 5. He talks a lot. I gave him 2 episodes. Um, so that's going to be fun. He's a really sweet guy. Their community center is amazing. Lots of toys, like it's going to be a fun start to the trip. And we'll get a little beach visit in before heading up to the mountain to visit four communities that are all in the same region, which are Alegria Village, Tacotal, La Ecovilla, and Ecovilla San Mateo. And then this year, we're also going to, after taking a little river day off from all that, we're going to have a bioregional panel discussion. So, a friend of ours, Rosa Elena, who's a member of really a couple of those communities in different ways. She's going to be orchestrating a discussion where we'll have community organizers all over the region coming together to talk about what they're doing to create this regional sense of community. And it's very interesting because they're forced like specific eco-village like projects defined that like how do you find agreement with so many people who've invested already and are doing their own thing. And so it's really for me, like I think about Damanhur and how they're basically this spread of various communities that are all communally interacting, and I see that to be a potential future of San Mateo. So that bioregional panel discussion will be a window into that type of formation. And then we end the trip. Oh wait, no, that's let me see. Yeah, that's the trip, and then so um, we'll visit, I guess, five community projects plus the bioregional panel discussion on that trip.
Nice.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I would say for people who are interested in joining really well-established communities, this would be a good one for you because a lot of it will be focused around La Ecovilla, the original project, and the new one under development, which is that full neighborhood, gardens intermingled with crazy architecture, like that full eco-village kind of experience on this trip. I would say at La Ecovilla and then also Alegria
Alegría.
is
Yeah,
developing in the same direction as well.
definitely.
Great. Okay, cool. And then let's look now at February. So February is more focused, you can see on the map a little bit further south in Costa Rica. It's more of the southern region of the tours that we're offering, going pretty far down south in the country. Yeah, you want to talk us through some of the communities on this tour?
Sure. So we'll start off with Resonance, which is not far from the Permaculture Country Club. Nice place. The hotel we'll stay there is gorgeous. We'll have a little beach spot. Resonance. They're a community that's kind of spreading wide, and they've got various projects in different places where they host their retreats and they're coordinating with different projects. And they actually, I've seen that they're kind of looking for communities that have tried but not made it, and like really helping some of those owners be part of a wider network. So Resonance is very interesting, and their focus is on sovereignty. They're one of the unique things is that they're also creating sovereign data centers for their community, which is the only time I've heard about a community doing that. So with their own servers and everything, it's cool. But then from there, we're going to head south. We will be visiting. Actually, yeah, there's a surprise. There's a tentative visit there that I may not announce quite yet. We're waiting on confirmation. But from there, we're going to go down to the Osa, and I was just there to Porte Jimenez, where there is not well, there's not any communities, land-based communities that are advertising themselves as communities. Let's say that. There are many pockets of people down there that share land that are doing things together, and one of them has a community center in Puerto Jimenez called Los Igarones, and they're doing again what we're talking about, this regional resilience piece. I was just down there for the Monte Madre festival and got to meet a lot of the local indigenous people of the Osa Peninsula, and wow, it's a different part of Costa Rica. It was the first time I really spent time there, and it's really precious. And the place we'll be staying right on the Golfo Dulce. It's calm waters, and Yeah, just lovely place. So we'll be really diving into like roots community building in the region, and from there we'll head back up to the Diamante Valley, where we have visited the last couple of years, and we'll be visiting Florestal, where we'll stay for the remainder of our trip. Really cool retreat center focused project that's been established and has many members living on site. Then we'll be visiting Fuente Semilla and Mozen, which are owned by a friend called Merlin. And Fuente Semilla is a community-run or like greenhouse that's used as an education center by various projects and teachers. And then Mozen is his community project that he's inviting people, and he's got a very elaborate presentation that he will share about the 10 pillars of community. So it's very,
Jason, I think you
and
cut
they
out.
will,
Oh, you're back.
what's that? Oh, okay.
You cut out for a second, but you're back now. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, so Ecomaste, I'll just continue. Ecomaste is a permaculture education center and natural building center that is inviting more community. And both of these projects are in a neighborhood called Fuente Verde that we'll also get a bit more of a tour with. So Fuente Verde is a really interesting project on the tour because it's one of these development projects where the developers advertised it as a community, but they didn't have much of a member agreement. They just were like, oh, we trust that like-minded people will come and buy lots near each other and it'll all be green. But people came in with different expectations, and there was a period of dissatisfaction by people that wanted more community but didn't have an infrastructure for it, and those that wanted more sovereignty. So some people left and new people came in, and there's more of an organic community thing happening in this neighborhood. But that neighborhood is only one part of a larger bioregion that we call the Diamante Valley, where the Florida Stral is, as well as Holos, which will be the last place we visit on the tour. And Holos is a really special, beautiful place. Ian Michael, very heart-centered. Reciprocity is a big piece of what they're doing, and it's luxury. It's gorgeous. I mean, it's glamping tents, as I'm proposing to be in here. Actually, their places are even more fancy than my glamping tent. But yeah, Holos is great, and we'll get to go to the waterfalls. And really, all these tours have so many beautiful like beach and waterfall visits. And on this tour, we get to go up to the Diamante Cave, which as a optional excursion for those that want an experience of a lifetime. To go up to this precious cave behind a waterfall. It's an awe. We spend the night up there at base camp just below the waterfall. It's for able-bodied people that don't mind a very vigorous uphill and downhill hike, but it's just a piece of this earth worth visiting.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
that's a little bit about February.
Yeah, great. Okay, so that was the February trip, and now we're going to go on to March. I also just want to take a moment because I saw a question. I was like typing a long answer. I was like, let me just answer this question now in the chat about how we choose the tour, the communities that we visit on our tours. And I think one of the benefits of coming on an Ecovillage tour versus doing your own research is that we as a company, but Jason specifically for Costa Rica, has put in the time to develop a relationship
Mm.
with these places and really make sure that they are safe places to go to, that you're going to get a variety of different experiences. Because somebody else asked in the chat, like, how do you determine which communities are a good fit or a bad fit for somebody? And it's like, well, every community is different, and what every person is looking for is also really different. So the best we can do is expose you to a diversity of communities so that you can get a better sense for, oh, I like that. I don't like that. This is what I want. And that's only going to come through actually spending time and visiting places. But don't worry, we've done the legwork for you and made the relationships. And rolled out the red carpet, if you will, so that when you come, you're not coming as a random visitor. You're coming as part of Ecovillage Tours, and we have a good reputation, and people are excited to greet you and answer all your questions and really show you what life is like in their community. Cool. So yeah, so anyways, just wanted to answer that question. And now we can talk about the March trip, which is over to the Caribbean side of Costa Rica.
Okay.
So you can see here on
S-
the map,
Yeah.
straddling kind of both coasts, but
Yeah, it's and the Central Valley. So this is the first year that we're visiting the Caribbean coast. It's been on my desire list, and we finally get to make it happen. Part of that is that prior the only place I was familiar with was Seed. It was the only like true eco village type project that was worth visiting, and it's a long drive. So we this year, I was introduced to some friends who bought property together in a neighborhood they call Iridia. And Iridia is a very interesting project that, again, it was just some friends that bought, and again, they didn't really want to create much of a community like agreements and get all involved. They had some really basic foundational values and agreements they made, and it works to a degree, and we're going to visit and learn a little bit about that model. But there are also several members on site that are now coming to that have a homeschool program and stuff that they collaborate with, and they're building a new community in that area, and I'm helping them with some of that development. And so we'll be able to see there both that model and what is wanting to be birthed from that more hands-off model. So that's giving us, and then we're going to do a bioregional panel discussion in the Caribbean as well, hosted by my friend Jose Pablo, to hear about some of the really great community work that's being done in the Caribbean side. Um, After that, we're gonna have some beach time, of course. We'll head up to Cartago, which is in the high mountains. So if you're coming on the March trip, bring some layers. It gets a little chilly up there. It's fresh and gorgeous mountain air. And Finca La Flor and Sol Ibaye are two. Well, Sol Ibaye purchased a portion of Finca La Flor that's been there for 30 years, and they've also got a couple of other people who are buying properties nearby, and they're creating both unified eco-village model within Finca La Flor, but then they also have the neighboring little projects. So we'll visit a couple of days there to learn about those projects. And then we drop down to a couple of projects that have been a big favorite on our prior visits, which are Verde Energia and Rancho Mas Total. And these are kind of your more rustic permaculture, hand-built, natural building type places, education centers where the community's focus really is education and lifting up their local region. When members of either of these projects talk about their community, they don't talk about their like shareholding members like ever. They say our team if they're going to say that. But when they say our community, they're talking about the Costa Rican community that they moved into. And so that's really just always a special stop for me. And we're going to take our time there to really soak up and feel that authenticity that they've built over the last 20 plus years, both of
oh
them.
my gosh. Yeah. And for those of you who are into natural building, and I'm a fan, the plaster work, the bamboo, the rounded structures, it's just phenomenal what they've built there. I mean, I can't even imagine all the hard work that went into it, but it's gorgeous. Yeah. Rancho Mastatal. You want to speak to Verdi and here, Jason? Are you
I would
like
say I kind of put both of them in that same
in the
bucket. Like
same?
they
Yeah.
have their own style and their own flavor and history and everything. But yeah, I kind of they both hold a similar warm,
Yeah.
uh, earthy granola kind of vibe on the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're doing it. They're
yeah,
doing the eco village thing in the
they really
jungle.
are. They're big favorites for most people that come on the trips for sure.
Yeah, they are. Alrighty, and then in April, which feels like a long time from now, but I know it's going to be here pretty soon, and this is to a region that we've been getting a lot of requests for. So, yeah, you want to share about our Guanacaste region trip?
Yeah, even though I'm going to get a week or two off in between each of these trips, it's going to feel back to back to back to back. I'll tell you what. Um, so this is another really exciting. We went to the Guanacaste area together 2 years ago, or last year, I guess, and that was great. And then we didn't go this year, and because one of the places wasn't available and just timing. But this year we have a couple of new places to put on the itinerary, and it's really exciting. Both of them I'm excited about for different reasons. So we're going to, on this trip, it's a little different. Instead of flying into Alajuela near San Jose, we're going to be flying into Liberia, which is in the northern part of the country. In Guanacaste, it is an international airport. It might require a little connecting flight for some folks, but it's going to minimize drive time for us, and that's really important. Long drives in the van can be exhausting for some folks. So
Yeah, I'll just emphasize that. So all of the other trips start out of the San Jose airport, which is, typically when you're traveling to Costa Rica, that's where you would go. But then this one is from the Liberia airport.
mhm.
Yeah, go ahead.
So from the from Liberia, after we will have our we'll spend the first night there and have our orientation. But then the next day we go to Eterna. Eterna is in Nosara, and it is founded by Stephen Brooks, who also had hand in founding Taco Tal, La Ecovilla, Alegria Village, and Punta Mona, as well as Envision Festival. Stephen is a brilliant activator and really a facilitator. He's great at bringing people together. And his wife is Costa Rican, and this new project, Eterna. Now, I'll say Alegria Village is really one of the shining stars as far as like doing mutual aid in their region. And he's really, from what I've seen on the website, I haven't been there yet, but they're really putting forward in their presentation that they're there to lift up the local region. So I'm excited to see what happens there. And we will have a bioregional panel discussion at Eterna while we're in that area. But before that, we're going to be also visiting Tierra Amor, which is crazy road, little warning for those that are sketchy on the road. You'll be gripping the handle up there, but we're gonna see about getting some proper four-wheel drive vehicles to bring us up this time instead of pushing the vans, which we won't share those stories on this call, but they're
No,
just
no,
smiling
no.
about. Um,
Wait till they're on the trip, then we'll share all
Right,
our
I'll
stories.
share the rescue story on the trip. But the Tierra Moor is a wonderful place and just really beautiful. And Matt has a really great community model that is interesting in that it creates place for various different types of ownership models. Whether you want a more sovereign thing, or if you want a co-housing type of thing, or et cetera, et cetera. So he's got different types of neighborhoods mapped out, which I'm really excited to see how that develops. And so, yeah, after a few days in Nosara, we'll head down to Santa Teresa to visit the Ark, which, having talked to Marat, has really developed a lot since we visited together last year, Cynthia. And I'm excited to check all that out. And then we'll be visiting a newer community called Bella Flor, which is, yeah, I haven't been there yet, but I get really the impression that this is a grounded, family-centered, authentic, really taking their community building sincerely. So I'm excited to get some firsthand experience with them while we're there. Um, so besides some beach time, that is our visit to Guanacaste's coast, and then we cruise up to Brave Earth, another almost unanimous favorite of most people on the trip. Brave Earth, another community that takes their community building very sincerely internally. They take their community building, their mutual aid programs with their outer community very sincerely. We're going to be there for
Oops. Jason, you cut out there for a moment.
and yeah, gorgeous place that you'll love visiting. Go ahead.
You just cut out there for a moment, but I think we heard it that yeah, Brave Earth is also really a wonderful community.
Yeah, big favorite of many people.
Yeah.
Just I was saying that they take their community building very sincerely, both within their internal team as well as their place in the region that they moved into. And that is, we'll be learning about both of those models while we're there.
Okay, great. All right. I'm just responding to a few. We're getting a lot of questions in the chat. They're really good questions. And I wanted to answer the one from Rand because I wanted to clarify. I would say if you're looking for established communities, those ones will be more so on the January tour, although all of the tours will have a mix of places at various stages of development. So I'm just answering that question. Good. I love so many people have really great questions. And yeah, I want to leave time to answer more of them. So I think we can wrap up this portion. I just want to share a few more logistical things about the tours because I know that's also questions you have. So let me answer those and then we can go to the full Q&A. All right, so let me switch over back to the slideshow where I was on earlier. Just a second here.
Just looking at this last
Yeah,
question,
go ahead.
the April visit being more established venues. Uh, yeah, I think both it is a mix, but yes, definitely the April and the January tours will be more concentration of more established communities. Mhm.
Okay, great. Good. Let me just see here. Something's happening with my screen share. Ah, okay. I think I got it now. Let's see. Escape out of that. Okay, perfect. Sometimes I'm switching back and forth and my Zoom gets confused. Alrighty, so just to share a few more last logistical pieces about the trips, and then I want to get into your questions just more generally about Costa Rica and the eco-villages there. And once again, all the information I'm going to share is on our website too, ecovillagetours.com/Costa-Rica. Um, and I want to share with you that these trips range, the 4 trips we're offering range in length from 9 to 11 days long. And they are really all inclusive. That was a question that somebody had about meals. Can you accommodate my diet? The shorter answer is yes. We have a range of people from vegetarian to vegan to meat eaters. Can absolutely make sure you are very well nourished, usually with delicious meals that the community prepares, often from food that they grow on site. All of the transportation is covered during the tour days, all of your lodging, and the lodging can also be quite nice too. Somebody was like, oh, I need AC. Well, a lot of the lodgings we'll be staying at do have air conditioning. And each trip will visit between 6 to 8 communities. As Jason said, sometimes there's even these bioregional panel discussions to really give you quality time with both the founders and the residents. Like we're packing a lot of information into an hour, but just imagine like getting to like sit in a circle with other travelers and listen at length to the story of a community and ask your questions, like much more in depth than what we're doing now. Also, nature excursions, workshops, really learning about community while you're visiting it. So not only, looking at the buildings, but finding out like what's the inner working, how are decisions made, how are conflicts resolved, all of that good stuff and to become a community. with the fellow tour participants. Oftentimes, people come on our trips because they want to visit communities, and of course, we do that. But what people leave with is the feeling of community and the relationships forged with the fellow tour participants. And all of this is designed to really help you get more clarity on your next steps on your journey. So that's in a nutshell, what we're offering. And I want to make sure you know about our early bird sale. So we have an early bird discount right now, $700 off the normal price when you book by October 1st. So go ahead and get out your calendar, circle that date. I really don't want you to miss the early bird window because after that, the pricing will increase by $700 per trip. Um, so the early bird rate, we get a lot of questions like, how much does your trip cost? It varies per trip. We try to price it as low as possible while also fully compensating the communities that we visit. A lot of people don't realize that we actually pay the communities to come. We're not just taking from them, we're contributing and supporting them. So that works out to be about $300 per day for the early bird rate. And then, of course, after October 1st, we'll jump up to closer to $400 per day. So yeah, that's the pricing. Um, I don't want you to wait until October 1st though, because our January trip especially is already beginning to fill up. We have, for all of our past Costa Rica tours, we have sold out. So don't wait until the last moment. If you're like a last minute kind of person, this isn't the thing to do it with because I would hate for you not to be able to come on a trip or not to be able to come on the trip that you most wanted to join because you waited too long. And we make it really easy to just put down a deposit. It's a fully refundable $500 deposit to hold your space up until 60 days before departure. So I've done the research and we are a very generous deal, if you will, to get a deposit in and hold that spot so you don't lose your spot on an upcoming trip. And then we have payment plans. So that's the other cool thing. We try to make it as easy as possible for people to pay in monthly installments. We can do customizable payment plans as well. If you need something special, that's really easy for us to accommodate because we want to make it work for you. And I know this is an investment. Yeah, and your time and your money and your resources are precious, and we really want to make sure that you can invest in this trip in a way that feels good and easy for you as well as actually making it happen and coming on this incredible adventure and visiting some of the places that Jason and I have been describing in the presentation. So I think that's most of everything I want to share with you on that front. I also wanted to say we are hosting a much shorter experience, a 4-day retreat also in Costa Rica. It's going to be at the very beginning of January. So a lot of people who are coming on our January trip are also adding on the retreat at the beginning. So that the retreat will be January 10th through the 13th. And it's called the Step into Community Retreat because we are designing it as a way to support you in stepping into community, especially for those of you who are looking to join a community, but you haven't lived in community before, or maybe did once, but it was a long time ago. And you have lots of questions, not only about how to visit communities and vet them, but also about yourself. Like, what do I have to contribute to a community, and how do I present that in a way that is really speaking to the value of what I bring, and what do I have to bring? All of that, Jason and I are going to be diving in together with you at a really beautiful center called Pura Vida Spa. They're just above San Jose. This is some photos of it. It's gorgeous. All of these swimming pools, cooler mountain air because it's at a higher elevation. So the intention is also to have just some relaxing time together to go deep and be in community. Jason, anything else you want to add about the retreat coming up?
Well, anybody who comes is going to really get an awesome immersion. Like Cynthia and I are so different and complementary, and I really know like when we were on the tours together, the dynamic of having both of our brains to pick and getting such different answers from the two of us was really valuable for people. Cynthia's doing her own retreat in Vermont coming up next month. I just did my own retreat for community founders called the Community Builders Convergence, where I brought them together to have really meaningful, curated conversations together. And I've studied masterminds professionally. I host a mastermind circle for the Finders Circle membership that Cynthia offers, and my last event was amazing. So you guys are in for a treat, like a real deep opportunity to go to learn and have your questions answered and have some great experiences.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if you're
good.
thinking about it, just say yes because it's going to be great.
Nice. Yeah, and some people are asking more details about the retreat. So the retreat is all inclusive, including picking you up at the San Jose airport and bringing you back there at the end of the retreat. And all of the meals, lodging, everything is covered during your time at the retreat. So it is fully inclusive, and it is for the 4 days of January 10th to the 13th. And we're offering that for $1,000, which is also really generous compared to other retreat type things. You know, retreat is such a buzzword right now, and I've been shocked at how much people are charging. But we're like keeping it simple and making sure that you have everything covered while you're there. So again, you can just relax and enjoy the experience. So that is about the retreat. Last little thing I'll mention here. We have a wonderful woman on our team who has also been on our Costa Rica Ecovillage tour. Her name is Rebecca, and she really wanted to be here tonight. She wasn't able to make it, but she is offering to do discovery calls with anyone here who has more questions. So if you don't have enough time to answer all of your questions during this webinar time, Rebecca is available. You can go and schedule a call with her. I'll put the link in the chat, and you can also see it right here, ecovillagetours.com/discovery call. Rebecca's really sweet. She's really helpful for helping you figure out, is this something I want to do? Which of the Costa Rica tours, or maybe another tour? She's been doing a lot of these conversations and is a good person to pick her brain and also have her help you figure out what to do next. So a lot of ways to get in touch with Rebecca if you would like to do so. Okay, so I'm going to stop my screen share and bring it back to the whole group. Thank you all so much for listening. I know that was a lot of information. Really appreciate your attention and all the good questions. So yeah, I think, what do you say, Jason? Do you want to hang out for like 5 more minutes and answer more questions? Does that work for you?
Sure, I don't mind. I've answered some more questions in the chat to people directly. Um, of the ones that I noticed still lingering here, um, well, there were several people that talked about wanting that are looking really for something specific, and I really encourage you to, if you're looking for something specific to Costa Rica, to get me on a call for a community matchmaking call. Like if you want to know specifically which places have rentals, which places have this detail, that detail, this altitude, this community model. I actually created like a 40 question questionnaire that I've sent out to all the communities here and have gotten responses from most of them that really have given me a nuanced ability to give you a curated list of places worth checking out. So if you're looking for that same kind of support globally, I know Cynthia has a much more expansive list, but I've been to all these places. So if Costa Rica is your interest, definitely would love to talk to you more about it. So that'll hit up a few of these questions that are looking for Costa Rica specific information.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I put the link to that service also in the chat if people just want to speak with Jason directly and get it from the source. That's a great opportunity. I wonder too, there might be more coming through the chat, but if anyone wants to unmute and share just any thoughts you have from this presentation or other questions, I love hearing some different voices as well. So no pressure, but if anyone wants to raise their hand to ask a question, now would be a fine time to do so. No? Oh yeah, Amanda. I thought there was somebody. Go ahead, Amanda, and then Jillian will do you next.
Okay. I think I came in late. I got the time wrong from a friend that gave me gave me a tip off of this Zoom. But I am actually in the process of coming over to Costa Rica. I have a friend that is in the process of creating an eco village. And I'm curious about just how to bring community together. I've lived in community over the years, so I kind of understand it, but bringing people in, like, the realities of living in community. There's good, bad, and otherwise. You learn a lot about yourself living in community. And so, like I said, I'm kind of diving in. I maybe, this is a group that I should get connected to, but just being able to kind of like run courses on how to live, how to navigate the ups and downs and ins and outs of community. If you're an organization that runs kind of courses that educate and teach, or is this more of a situation of like an experiential where people come and pay and then experience? Can you tip me off on that? Because I'm coming in way late.
Oh
So,
yeah, for sure. And Amanda, I want to let you know who registered. So if you registered to
yeah.
be here, make sure you get the recording sent out via email.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, I
Yeah,
did register. Yeah.
that'll come from Cynthia at ecovillagetours.com. So
Okay.
yeah, be
Okay.
on the lookout
Okay.
for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ecovillage Tours, we offer in-person experiences to go and visit communities, which is
Mm-hmm.
where you'll get a lot more, information directly from the communities themselves.
Okay, got it.
Another organization that does more online courses, if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that
put
would
that
be
in the
wonderful.
chat. I'll put that in the chat as well, communityfinders.com.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
the
Okay.
Community
Yeah, that
Finders program is amazing. If you guys are really like serious about your search and you want to do it smart, you want to like really get education to know not only how to find the perfect spot, but how to prepare yourself for really being able to pull it off and not run away
yeah.
screaming. Like I highly recommend the program. Cynthia has so many resources, so many interviews and webinars and stuff. And both she and I offer live coaching as part of the program.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all down in I can find that down in the chat and continue the conversation offline then with you
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, that
Awesome.
sounds great.
Okay. Thank
Cool.
you.
Yeah,
Hmm.
thank you, Amanda.
Yeah, thank you.
And I like this message from Shirley. I'm very excited looking at my calendar and planning my trips with you. Oh, yay, so exciting. All right, let's do just the two questions we have hands raised for, and then we'll call it a wrap. So Jillian and Karen, you're next, and Eiley, you're on deck.
Hi. We are both teachers, and so going on vacation on those specific dates is really challenging for us. Do you offer any tours over the summer?
Yeah, we do. Yep. Well, I do every July the Vermont Ecovillage Tour. And we offer some trips in Europe during the summer months as well. For Costa Rica, though, we're not currently offering any summer tours. Yeah, it's just the January through April window.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, thanks.
good question.
I do have actually one other question. I also, between us, we have three small children. Can you bring children on these tours, or are they kind of like adult only?
No, you can bring kids. Yeah, that's something that's also very special and unique about what we offer. We welcome families. There are, certain things to be aware of, certain challenges with long drives and moving around a lot. So it's not a suit for every family, but we have had many families join us in the past, and it usually works out really great and is actually quite delightful to have kids.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
can hear them perhaps in the background. Oh, sweet. Okay, Eileen, we'll go to you next.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. So, since you mentioned that traveling in as a group, that kind of becomes a community as well, I was wondering like what you do to support the cohesion and um, the word protection comes up, but respect and just compassion for each other in the group. And specifically, if like conflict comes up or difference of opinions, like how do you support the people? Yeah, like what kind of model would you use if conflict or challenges come up within the tour group?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And it is true. We are spending a lot of time together. It's really intense. Actually, I'm just noticing Bonnie. She was on our Vermont trip recently. Hi, Bonnie. And she knows what I'm talking about. And so it's interesting. Like things can come up and they do, but also this is not a long-term community that we're building together. It's a really short trip. So I think in that regard, people want to put their best foot forward for the short time that we're together and make the most of it. So I'm surprised at how little conflict comes up on our trips because we're all kind of open to the experience and going through it and learning about community and hearing from the communities we visit about their conflict resolution processes and communication styles and kind of like practicing that a little bit while traveling. Um, that said, we have a pretty detailed conflict resolution procedure, if you will, on the terms of our website that everyone signs when they, you know, if you misbehave, this is what's going to happen. So that's like the one layer of it. The other layer, of course, is trying to support people in respecting each other and learning how to do that. And all of our tour guides, Jason, but also others are there to support each person and having the best experience possible for that short special time that you're together. Jason,
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
I'll add to that. On one side, like you're saying, other tour guides, like one thing that we really make sure is that we're a team of three guides on the Costa Rican tours, and I really make sure to have a diverse blend of us. It's not three of me's guiding the tour, you know. For instance, there's always a female-bodied person on the tour for that dynamic, and there's just like it's important and really actually on our trip the guides that I hire I try to keep Costa Ricans, so there's really that cultural piece as part of it, the interaction and the experience. And on the tours that I guide, I do address conflict and communication in our orientation. And I also set at least one circle, usually like some days into it, where we have a break where we can just circle up and have a sharing circle where we can bring some. A lot of times it just ends up being gratitude or this and that, but we encourage people to practice, like, share something that got you stirred up or something that you're holding on to, or we don't have to. This is the practice to not make it personal but still be able to express and feel heard. And So I bring a little bit of that into the tours that I guide as well.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, nice. Again, I like how we both gave really full answers and different angles of it, and both are true. Eileen, did that help answer your question? Yeah.
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, sweet. All right. Oh, my friends, I feel like we could do this for a long time. I feel like we're just getting started, but I hope that was helpful for you in learning a little bit more about Costa Rica and what's happening with the communities. Feel free if you have more questions to reach out to us. Lots of ways to do that. You can book a call with Rebecca. My email address is cynthia@ecovillagetours.com. And again, you should be getting an email from me with the recording. And if you don't get it for some reason, please reach out to me. And yeah, we're here to support you and coming on our trip, sure, but also just in general, learning about community living and getting out there and visiting some communities yourself. So thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Jason, too, making the time.
Con mucho gusto.
All right, friends. Bye, everyone. Take care.